Good day, cadets and cadets. I am your instructor for the day. But before we proceed to our lesson, let me first introduce myself.
I am Sergeant John Vincent S. Villanueva, PGR 17-000641, Philippine Army Reserve, from 105th Community Defense Center, 1st Regional Community Defense Group. I live at Cambanan, Ordaneta City, Pangasinan. I am 22 years old. I was born on May 2, 1998. I finished my primary education at Jesus Christ Christian Academy. My secondary education at Pangasinan School of Arts and Trades. And currently, I am a fourth-year student of University of Eastern Pangasinan, taking up Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. I finished my ROTC Summer Camp Training 31-32, Advanced ROTC Academic Phase Training 31-32, 41-42, Active Duty Training at Camp Lieutenant Tito B. Abat, Manawag, Pangasinan. I graduated my Advanced ROTC at Pangasinan State University, Ordaneta ROTC Unit. Before we start our lesson, let's have first our classroom rules. If you have your cell phone with you, please turn it into silent mode. If you feel sleepy, just go at the back and perform some exercise. And if you need a comfort room, just go to the CR. For the safety precaution, in case of fire, immediately go to the fire exit. And if you feel sudden earthquake, perform, drop, cover, and hold. Our subject for today, cadets and cadets, is all about cybersecurity awareness. Cybersecurity awareness refers to how much end users know about the cybersecurity threats their networks face and the risks they introduce. End users are considered the weakest link and the primary vulnerability within a network, being that the end users are a major vulnerability. Technical means to improve security are not enough. Organizations must also provide training for a personal awareness of cybersecurity. They should educate employees or members of the organization on current threats and how to avoid them. And now let's go to our objectives. To learn how to protect your organization from the most common cyber attacks. In the event of an attack happens, learn how to be prepared and respond. For our scope, we have definition of terms, cyber threats, what we stand to lose, who are the victims of cyber attacks, safety tips against cyber attacks, cybercrime in the Philippines. Let's proceed to the definition of terms. Cybersecurity is the ability to protect or defend the use of cyberspace from cyber attacks. Cyberspace is a global domain of information systems, infrastructures, including the internet, telecommunication networks, computer systems, and embedded processors and controllers. In other words, everything involving a computer. Cyber attack is any type of offensive action that targets computer information system, infrastructures, computer networks, or personal computer devices, using various methods to steal, alter, or destroy data or information system. Vulnerability refers to the weakness of an asset that can be exploited by one or more attackers. In context of cyber world, vulnerability refers to a bug in hardware or software which remains to be fixed and is prone to be exploited to cause a damage. Threat is any event that has the potential to bring harm to an organization or individuals. Computer fraud is a cybercrime and the act of using a computer to take or alter electronic data or to gain unlawful use of a computer system. Forgery, the action of forging or producing a copy of a document, signature, banknote, or work of art. Identity theft occurs when someone uses another person's personal identifying information, like their name, identifying number, or credit card number, without their permission, commit fraud or other crimes. Hacker, a person who illegally gains access to and sometimes tampers with information in a computer system. And now, let's go to cyber threats. I listed down the 8 common cyber threats. First one, we have malware. Malware is an encompassing term for a variety of cyber threats including Trojan viruses and worms. Malware is simply defined as a code with malicious intent that typically steals data or destroys something in the computer. These are the viruses that is under malware. First one, macroviruses. Next, file infectors. And the next one, system or boot record infectors. Polymorphic viruses, stealth viruses, trojans, logic bombs, worms, droppers, ransomware. And under ransomware, we have two classifications. The first one is adware and the second is spyware. Next on the list, we have phishing, often posing as a request for data from a trusted third party. Phishing attacks are sent via email and ask users to click on a link and enter the personal data. Phishing emails have gotten much more sophisticated in recent years, making it difficult for some people to discern a legitimate request for information from a false one. Phishing emails often fall into some category as spam, but are more harmful than just a simple ad. Next up is password attack. A password attack is exactly what it sounds, like a third party trying to gain access to your system by tracking a user's password. Next up is DDoS, which stands for Distributed Denial of Service. DDoS or Distributed Denial of Service attack focuses on disrupting the service or a network. Attackers send high volumes of data or traffic through the network, that is making a lot of connection requests until the network becomes overloaded and can no longer function. Next up, we have man-in-the-middle attack. By impersonating the endpoint in an online information exchange, that is the connection from your smartphone to a website, the MIT attacks can obtain information from the end users and entity he or she is communicating with. For example, If you are banking online, the man in the middle would communicate with you by impersonating your bank and communicate with the bank by impersonating you. The man in the middle would then receive all the information transferred between both parties, which could include sensitive data such as bank account and personal information. Next up, we have drive-by download. Through malware on a legitimate website, a program is downloaded to a user's system just by visiting the site. It doesn't require any type of action by the user to download it actually. Mail advertising, which is a way to compromise your computer with malicious code that is downloaded to your system, which you click on an effective ad. The last one is rogue software, which are basically malwares that are masquerading as legitimate and necessary security software that will keep your system safe.
12 signs your computer has been hacked. Cyber attacks have recently become a very popular problem, so everyone is worried about protecting their data. To prevent your passwords or other important data from being stolen, you have to pay attention to any changes on your computer. Your printer doesn't work properly and you don't know what it means. Your webcam behaves unusually? We're going to tell you about 12 important signs that your computer has been hacked and your data and pictures have been stolen. Number 12. The antivirus is switched off. Antivirus programs are pretty hard to disable even when you want to. They have special safety protocols that ask you 2 or even 3 times if you are sure that you don't want the program to work. So it's almost impossible that you turn it off accidentally. The first thing that good hackers do is disable the antivirus so that you can't detect the intrusion. But you are smarter than them, right? So as soon as you notice that your antivirus is off, turn it back on and contact a specialist. Number 11. You receive fake antivirus warnings. If you see antivirus warnings that look different or unusual, this is a clear sign of a hack. Another bad sign is if you have a new antivirus you didn't install. However, before you start to worry, check if your old antivirus software was updated. Maybe it just looks different now. Number 10. Your passwords don't work. If you can't access some of your accounts and you're sure you didn't change your passwords and forget about it, your computer has most likely been hacked. Fortunately, most services have the two-factor authentication, so you can restore your passwords by having a code sent to your phone number. Once you've done it, change passwords even for the accounts that apparently haven't been hacked yet. Tell all your friends not to open messages from you and not to go through the links sent from your accounts. Number 9. Your number of friends has grown. If you see some people on your social network pages that you don't know, and there are many of them, it's a clear sign that your computer, or at least your account, has been hacked. Check the chats with your friends for spam messages. Number 8. New icons appear on your dashboard. When you launch your browser and notice new icons on your dashboard, this might be a sign of the infiltration of some dangerous code onto your computer. Don't run unknown applications if you don't want to make the hacker's job easier. Try to delete them from your computer if you can. Number 7. The cursor moves on its own. If you notice that your cursor is moving without your control and is highlighting something, it means your computer has definitely been hacked. Someone is probably doing something at this very moment. What you should do is disable the internet connection as soon as possible. Of course, after you finish watching this video and like it. This means disconnecting the Ethernet cable or turning off your wireless router until a specialist arrives and fixes the problem. Number 6. Your printer doesn't work properly. You might be surprised, but cyber attacks influence not only the computer itself, but also your peripheral devices. For example, if your printer refuses to print something out, it might be a worrying signal, or you're just out of paper. The same applies for all other devices connected to your computer. Number 5. You are redirected to different websites. You should be alert if your browser keeps redirecting to different websites. Of course, maybe it's your own fault. Do you remember visiting some suspicious-looking internet sites? If not, your system might have been hacked. It's time to call a specialist if you type something into a search engine and instead of Google pages, you go to another page you don't know. The same goes for situations when you see too many pop-up windows. Number 4. Your files are deleted by someone else. This is a 100% sign of a hack. If you see that your folders are empty, don't panic. There are some tools that can restore deleted files, so this is not the most pressing issue. But the safety of your system is. Number 3. Your data is on the internet even though you didn't put it there. You've probably heard many stories in the news about celebrities whose photos were stolen and shared with the entire world. This is a terrible situation to be in, and this can happen to anyone. It's just that only celebrity stories end up in the newspapers. Hackers can start blackmailing you, threatening to share your information with your friends. First, take care of your credit cards. Call your bank and tell them to block the cards that you have used to pay for something online. Only after your money is safe, call a specialist that can deal with the safety problem. The stolen data can't be returned, so whatever is online stays online. Try not to store files you don't want to be stolen from your computer. Number 2. There is unusual webcam behavior. Check your webcam indicator. If it is on or blinking, make sure no applications are launched that require a webcam, such as Skype, FaceTime, or others. If you don't see a reason for the webcam to be on, reboot the system and check again. If the indicator is on again, you have a problem. Disconnect from the internet and call a specialist. Number 1. Your computer works very slowly. If even the simplest operations take your computer a very long time to complete, and if you notice a significant drop in the speed of your internet connection, it might mean that someone hacked your computer. First, try to reboot your computer and check the performance again. Maybe you just need a hardware upgrade. If nothing changes, launch the Task Manager and look for the processes that are eating your RAM. Shut down all tasks that you can and see how well the computer works. If you experience problems after that, well, you already know what you should disconnect and who you should call. So, let's sum up and repeat what you should do. Warn your friends and other people to whom you send emails that your computer has been hacked. Tell them not to open messages from you and not to click on any links from you. Tell your bank about a possible leak of your data. Find out how to protect your money. Delete all unfamiliar programs and also those you can't launch. Install a reliable antivirus program and scan your system. Some companies make trial versions. Change the passwords on all your accounts. If you still feel that the problem is not solved, ask a specialist.
What we stand to lose if cyber attacks happen to us. It can be money, personal information, or our reputation. And who can be the victims of cyber attacks? It can be our businesses, government, banking and financials, energy company, educational institution, media outlets, and especially you. Here is the safety tips against cyber attacks. We will discuss it briefly one by one. First on the list, we have clicking without thinking. Is reckless just because you can click doesn't mean you should. Remember, it can cost you a hefty sum. Malicious link can do damage in several different ways, so be sure to inspect link and ensure they are from trusted senders before clicking. The next is use two-factor authentication. It's important to have a strong password, but it's even more imperative to have two-factor or multi-factor authentication. This method provides two-layer of security measures, so if a hacker can accurately guess your password, there is still an additional security measure in place to ensure that your account is not breached. The next, look out for phishing scam. With over 3 billion fake emails sent daily, phishing attacks are some of the greatest cybersecurity threats as they are very easy to fall for. In a phishing attack, a hacker will pose as someone that the recipient may be familiar with to trick them into opening a malicious link, divulging important credentials, or opening software that infects the recipient's system with a virus. The best way to be on the lookout for phishing scams is by avoiding emails from unfamiliar senders. Look for grammatical errors or any inconsistencies in the email that looks suspicious. And however, any link you receive to verify what the destination is. The next is keep track of your digital footprint. When you monitor your accounts, you can ensure you catch suspicious activity. Can you recall everywhere you have online accounts and what information is stored on them, like credit card numbers for easier payments? It's important to keep track of your digital footprint, including social media, and to delete accounts you're not using while ensuring you set a strong password that you change regularly. The next one is keep up with updates. Software patches can be issued when security flaws are discovered. If you find these software update notifications to be annoying, you're not alone. But you can consider them the lesser of two evils when weighing up rebooting your device versus putting yourself at risk for malware and other types of computer infection. The next one is connect securely. Cybersecurity tips about this have been dished out by nearly every tech expert under the sun, but many still don't follow this advice. You might be tempted to connect your devices to an unsecured connection, but when you weigh the consequences, it's not worth it. Only connection to private networks when possible, especially when handling sensitive information. The next one is secure your mobile devices. Security doesn't end at your desktop. It's important to get into the habit of securing your presence through your mobile devices as well. Use strong passwords and biometrics feature. Ensure you turn off your Bluetooth, don't automatically connect to any public Wi-Fi, and download with caution. The next one is beware of social engineering. When hackers can find a security vulnerability, their attack in other ways. Enter social engineering. This type of attack is more of an attack on the mind of the users rather than on the device to gain access to systems and information, especially with the information publicly available online. And over social media, cybercriminals come up with creative ways to dupe users. The next one is back up your data. These days, storage doesn't cost much. There's no excuses not to have a backup or important data. Back it up on a physical location and on the cloud. Remember, malicious threats and hackers don't always want to steal your data, but sometimes the end goal is to encrypt or erase it. Back it up to have an ultimate recovery tool. And for the last one, we have you're not immune. The most harmful thought you can have is, it wouldn't happen to me, or I don't visit unsafe website. Cybercriminals don't discriminate in targeting all sorts of users. Be proactive. Not all mistakes can be undone with Control-C or undo. Simple cybersecurity tips like this can go a long way in preventing a catastrophe. But they only scratches they only scratch the surface of how your users can be educated and protected. And that's all for safety tips against cyber attacks.
So, have you ever wondered who actually invented the internet? Some people have become zillionaires thanks to the internet, but all they did was invent clever ways of using the internet. So the person who invented the internet should be a gazillionaire equivalent to, say, God, shouldn't they? Who should get the credit then? Was it a British geek in a Swiss underground lab? Maybe. Clever Americans threatened with nuclear annihilation by the Russians? Nice idea. French scientists who decided to call their computer network the l'Internet. Interesting. Or was it thanks to a myriad of smart scientists working on something they knew was useful but didn't realize would be so big? Well, let's try and get some facts straight. There's the internet, a whole bunch of computer networks connected to each other, and then there's the World Wide Web, a way of making it easier to share information using all those interconnected computers. The internet as we know it today was at least 40 years in the making. One popular but wrong story is that the internet was developed by the USA so they had a communication network that would survive a nuclear war. According to one of the founders of the first network, the ARPANET in the 1960s, this first network experiment wasn't about communication at all, it was about optimizing processor usage, or time sharing, which basically meant that scientists could share computer power too. That was because until the 1960s, there was basically no network. You had big machines called mainframes, which sat in a room and processed computing tasks one at a time. With time sharing, these behemoths could process several tasks at a time, which meant their power could be used by several scientists at once. And obviously, once you start connecting computers together, you start to wonder about what you need to do to make communications between them easier. Scientists around the world were trying to solve this problem. So let's look at some of the other key concepts that were developed elsewhere. Starting with packet switching. In Britain, there was a commercial network developed by the National Physical Laboratory, but which never really got off the ground because it didn't get funding. But they did come up with the idea of packet switching, a way of avoiding congestion in busy networks by cutting up data at one end and putting it back together at the other. The French also played a role. They were working on a scientific network called Cyclades, but they didn't have a big budget, so they decided to work on direct connections between computers as opposed to working with gateway computers. Now, as an aside here, this admittedly isn't very scientific, but according to one theory, a spin-off of their research was the word Internet. But you don't have to believe it if you don't want to. So now it's the early 1970s. There's quite a lot of computer infrastructure, but communication is awkward and patchy because different networks can't talk to each other. TCP/IP solves this problem. The TCP/IP protocols form the basic communication language of the Internet, which labels the packets of data and makes sure that even though some pieces of the same data take a different route, they all arrive at their destination and can be reassembled. Networks really began communicating with each other in 1975. So you could argue that was the beginning of the Internet. Email was also very important. It was developed for ARPANET in 1972. Most internet traffic in 1976 was email, because academics thought electronic post-it notes were dead cool. With networks that could talk to each other, communication was becoming easier. But all this communication was just text-based, and it was pretty ugly to look at. In the 1980s, a Brit called Timothy Berners-Lee spent time with CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, where physicists are trying to work out what the universe is made of. He wanted to manage the scientists' information and make it possible for them to share and interconnect their work easily, making progress more likely. He did so by inventing an interface using HTTP, HTML, and URLs that made internet browsers possible. He called his browser the World Wide Web. So he didn't invent the internet, but he did invent the web. The first ever website which he created was at CERN in France in August 1991. So, once the initial infrastructure was in place, the key technologies had been invented, internet message boards exploded in the 1980s, the phone companies saw the commercial potential of digital communication, web browsers spread like wildfire in the early 1990s, and ordinary people discovered email. Then, the internet expanded rapidly and steadily and became workable for the masses from about 1995. Hold on, didn't US Vice President Al Gore invent the internet? No. And if you read what he said exactly, you'd know he never claimed to have done. But many people credit him with energetically pushing legislation that encouraged the spread of the internet. The internet exists because we need to communicate, and most of us like doing it. That's why humans have become the dominant species on Earth. You could argue that the internet is a natural evolutionary step and a manifestation of that need. It wasn't invented by anyone in particular, but when the building blocks were put together by all those cool scientists from all over the place, the internet became a communication tool, a retail tool, a research tool, a propaganda tool, a spying tool, a shopping tool, a dating tool, an entertainment tool, and a way of skiving off work while making it look like you're working or studying, which is what you may be doing now. Ultimately, though, you're communicating, especially if you leave a comment, and that might make you a better human being.
Cybercrime in the Philippines. The Republic Act 1017 is the Cybercrime Prevention Act was signed into law last September 12, 2012. This law is already in effect as the Supreme Court upheld its constitutionality on February 18, 2014. Although some provisions were deemed as unconstitutional, struck down, particularly Section 4, Chapter 3, 7, 12, and 19. 11 cybercrimes covered under Cybercrime Prevention Act, Republic Act 10175. Types of cybercrimes and the penalty. The first one is illegal access. Unauthorized access without right to a computer system or application. Prison mayor, imprisonment for 6 years and 1 day up to 12 years, or a fine of at least 200,000 pesos up to a maximum amount commensurate to the damage incurred or both. If committed against critical infrastructure, reclusion temporal, imprisonment for 12 years and 1 day up to 20 years, or a fine of at least 500,000 pesos, up to a maximum amount commensurate to the damage incurred or both. Illegal interception. Unauthorized interception of any non-public transmission of computer data to from or within a computer system. The penalty is same as illegal access. Data interference. Unauthorized alteration, damaging, deletion, or distortion of computer data, electronic documents, or electronic data message, and including the introduction or transmission of viruses. Authorized action can also be covered by this provision if the action of the person went beyond agreed scope resulting to damage stated in this provision. The penalty is also same as illegal access. System interference. Unauthorized hindering or interference with the functioning of a computer or computer network by inputting, transmitting, damaging, deleting, or deteriorating, altering, or suppressing computer data or program, electronic documents, or electronic data messages. The introduction or transmission of viruses. Authorized action can also be covered. This provision if the action of the person went beyond agreed scope, resulting to damages stated in this provision. The penalty is same as illegal access. Misuse of devices. The unauthorized use, possession, production, sale, procurement, importation, distribution, or otherwise making available of devices, computer program designed or adapted for the purpose of committing any of the offensive is stated in Republic Act 10175. Unauthorized use of computer password, access code, or similar data by which the whole or any part of a computer system is capable of being accessed with intent that be used for the purpose of committing any of the offenses under Republic Act 10175. The penalty is same as above, except fine should be no more than 500,000 pesos. Cyber squatting. Acquisition of domain name over the internet and bad faith to profit, mislead, destroy reputation, and deprive other from registering the same. This includes those existing trademarks at the time of registration, name of the persons other than the registrant, and acquire with intellectual property interest in it. Those who get domain names of prominent brand and individuals which in turns in use to damage their reputation can be sued under this provision. Noted that freedom of expression and infringement on trademarks or names of person are usually treated separately. A party can exercise freedom of expression without necessarily violating the trademarks of a brand or names of person. The penalty is same as misuse of devices. Computer-related forgery: unauthorized input, alteration, or deletion of computer data resulting to inauthentic data with the intent that it be considered or acted upon for legal purposes as if it were authentic, regardless whether or not the data is directly readable and intelligible, or the act of knowingly using computer data, which is the product of computer-related forgery as defined here, for the purpose of perpetuating a fraudulent or dishonest design. Prison mayor is the penalty for the computer-related forgery. Prison mayor imprisonment of 6 years and 1 day up to 12 years, or a fine of at least 200,000 pesos, up to a maximum amount commensurate to the damage incurred or both. The next is computer-related fraud. Unauthorized input, alteration, or deletion of computer data or program or interference in the functioning of a computer system, causing damage thereby with fraudulent intent. Same as above, provided that if no damage has yet been caused, the penalty imposed shall be 1 degree lower. For this, we have computer-related identity theft, unauthorized acquisition, use, misuse, transfer, possession, alteration, or deletion of identifying information belongings to another, whether natural or juridical. The penalty of computer-related identity theft is same as above. The next one is child pornography. Unlawful or prohibited act defined and punishable by Republic Act Number 9775 or the Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009, committed through a computer system. The penalty to be imposed shall be 1 degree higher than that provided for in Republic Act 9775 if committed through a computer system. And for the last one, we have cybersex, willful engagement, maintenance, control, or operation, directly or indirectly, of any lascivious exhibition of sexual organs or sexual activity with the aid of a computer system for favor or consideration. There is a discussion on this matter if this involves couples or people in relationship who engage in cybersex, for as long as it is not done for a favor or consideration. I don't think it will be covered. However, if one party in a couple or relationship sues claiming to be forged to do cybersex, then it can be covered. The penalty for cybersex is prison mayor, imprisonment of 6 years and 1 day up to 12 years, or a fine of at least 200,000 pesos, but not exceeding 1 million pesos or both. And that's all for the cybercrimes covered under Cybercrime Prevention Act, Republic Act 10175. For the summary, for what we have learned today is definition of terms, cyber threats, what we stand to lose, who are the victims of cyber attacks, safety tips against cyber attacks, cybercrimes in the Philippines. For the learning activity, for what we have learned today, just give the 8 cyber threats that we have discussed today. Explain in your own words. We have 2 points each. The second, in your own words, what is Republic Act 10175? The last one, enumerate the 11 cybercrimes covered under Prevention Act, Republic Act 10175. And that's all for what we have discussed about cybersecurity awareness. Thank you and God bless. I hope you learn a lot from what I have discussed today.